Hey, boo. Come closer. I don't bite. Hard. I'm Kat Pinning, and this is Cat's Got Your Terror, where I tell you and a guest in my Manor of Death something that I find terrifying, so I'm not the only one with nightmares. My guest in the Manor this week has been performing on stages for well over 20 years. She's made a name for herself in such roles as Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray, Sister Mary Patrick in Sister Act, and recently gave an incredibly moving performance in the one-person show Every Brilliant Thing. She's been described as an incandescent angel of theater, by yours truly, but trust me, other people have thought it. It's our star, Bethany Slomka.
Hi.
Hey, B, I'm so happy you're here. How you feeling?
I'm so excited and ready to be spooked.
Okay, B, so you and I have so many things in common, but one of them is that we are both animal lovers.
Yes.
If not friend, why friend-shaped? In fact, we even have special voices we use to communicate to any furry creature we may encounter. B, can you demonstrate?
Like, hi, how are you?
Oh, I want to give
I
a
love you so
snuggles.
much.
Look at
Wanna
it.
cuddle? We love animals.
Yes, exactly. So today's topic I figured would be perfect to cover with you.
Oh no.
Question.
Yeah.
Did you ever grow up watching Fox, like the Fox TV network?
I'm sure.
Probably. Okay, so I grew up with antenna TV, and Fox was a staple, and they would have these specials that would air over the weekends called When Animals Attack. For those who don't know, according to Wikipedia, When Animals Attack is a series of television specials aired by Fox in the United States during the mid to late 1990s. The specials compiled graphic clips of various animals attacking humans. For whatever reason, I was obsessed with them. I watched all 4 of them. And because I do worry about you trying to approach a friend-shaped creature, let me share with you some tales of when animals attack.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah.
this is just going to be a PSA as to why you should avoid nature.
Okay.
I could have picked stories of people being attacked at zoos or circuses, but honestly, I think the most terrifying animal attacks are the ones you don't necessarily see coming. How many people go camping or hiking every year without incident? Unfortunately, the people in these stories were not so lucky. This first story is incredibly recent, like we're talking literally months ago, and it's terrifying because these boys did everything right, and they were avid outdoorsmen, and fate was so unkind. On March 23rd, 2024, so literally months ago,
Okay, I'm ready.
Taylon Brooks, 21, and Wyatt Brooks, 18, drove to their favorite spot. It was about an hour's drive from their family home, above Kelsey, not far from Georgetown, and a chance to renew their pastime, shed hunting, the sport of collecting the sheds of deer, elk, or moose. So like the antlers,
Got
they
it.
like shed every year.
Okay.
Wyatt brought a backpack to carry the bounty that they would find. Taylon and Wyatt grew up hunting and fishing together almost daily. The brothers knew March was the best time to search out the deer antler sheds before they were blanketed by tall spring grasses. Saturday was also opening day of the junior turkey hunting season, so they didn't carry firearms that would draw the eye of game wardens. Taylon and Wyatt also knew what so many here do, where to go, what to do, and what not to do on the back roads that crisscross the fringes of the El Dorado National Forest. Taylon was the first to spot the mountain lion, prowling up the one-lane road as they searched. The brothers did exactly as trained. Both raised their arms to appear large and yelled at the lion. Wyatt threw his backpack at the predator to scare him away, and nothing helped. The cougar charged at Wyatt, biting his face. Taylon began yelling and beating the animal, but the predator still didn't let go. Wrestling, Wyatt managed to get on top of the 90-pound beast, but the mountain lion clawed at his midsection, leading the 18-year-old to lose his grip. So, like, he was on top of him, but then, like, the cougar started, like, swiping at his, like, stomach, which, like, if you cougar claws, I mean, are, like, as long as our fingers. So, like, absolutely could have disemboweled him.
And had the other guys
because he was,
face-
like, on top of him. Yeah. So he, like, went to, like, grab him. He, like, turned. That's when the young male lion charged at Taylon, chomping on his neck and tackling him to the ground. Lacerations ripped through Wyatt's face as he repeatedly beat the animal to loosen its jaws. The predator skirted away and Wyatt called 911. But he had no cell phone service. The 18-year-old ran to his vehicle where he ultimately got cell phone service and called authorities. Wyatt drove back to where the attack occurred. to meet the El Dorado County sheriffs, who began to render medical aid. He was taken to Marshall Hospital in Placerville and then to UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento to undergo reconstructive surgery, the family said. The deputies then began searching for the mountain lion when they found it guarding a male body, later confirmed to be Talon. So when the mountain lion like jumped Talon, Wyatt like went to grab him. Wyatt loses grip because the cougar started clawing at him. Wyatt decides like there's nothing I can do, runs back to the truck and gets his cell phone, decides to get help, runs back to where he last saw his brother and the cougar. They're not there. So then like the deputies or whatever render medical aid. And then when they start looking for the mountain lion and they find the mountain lion like crouched over this guy's body. They did not know at the time if Talon was still alive or not due to the close proximity of the mountain lion and could not fire their weapons directly at the lion, the family said in a statement. Sheriff's deputies fired warning shots close to the mountain lion to scare it away. He was tracked down by a professional trapper within a few hours of the incident and killed, CDFW, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, said in a statement. The Brooks family said the mountain lion was found about 100 yards from the attack up a tree. Forensic scientists will continue analyzing necropsy results to determine whether there was an underlying health issue related to this particular animal, the CDFW said. Wyatt J. Charles Brooks is recovering from cuts and gouges to his face and neck. He wants to be a firefighter for Cal Fire, protecting the land his family calls home. He's been training with the Mount Adams Fire Academy. Talon Robert Claude Brooks painted homes and cut firewood with his father. He was an extremely talented guitar player, the family said. He was a very kind and gentle soul, and he will be deeply missed by all who knew him. And that was the first California mountain lion fatality in 20 years. The last one was in 2004. And there has only ever been 4 fatalities due to mountain lions out of 25 recorded attacks.
Crying? Wow.
I know. Isn't that sad?
That's really sad.
It's so sad.
And like,
it's going to get sadder, I warn you.
Okay, cool.
I was crying when I typed some of this up. I probably should have mentioned.
It's just like how you could never imagine. Like, this literally sounds like a movie.
No, 100%. And again, why it's so terrifying. Like, these brothers were literally doing something that they always do.
Yeah, they've
the
done this
shed
how many
hunting
times?
thing. Yeah, and they were just going out and they did, and again, they did all the right things. They did everything they were trained to do. Like, the only thing that maybe could have helped is had they had a firearm on them. And I was reading something else that said that normally they would have had firearms on them, but because of the turkey thing, because of turkey season, they didn't want to carry their guns because they didn't want the game warden to like stop them.
Okay, but then on the other hand, like, part of me is like empathetic for the mountain lion because this is what it does.
Exactly.
This is what it does. And then
that's also
it
the
gets
catch-22
killed.
of like, that's also the catch-22 of like, okay, well, this mountain lion is also just being a mountain lion and like he's
a predator.
Yeah, exactly. And he's doing about mountain lions too. But
whoa.
I know. Is that not crazy? I think what's crazy is out of 25 recorded attacks, there's only 4 fatalities.
Yeah,
and that this was the first one in 20 years, which is crazy.
So they're testing, they want to test.
Yeah, they're testing to see.
Lion?
Yeah, so they know that it was the mountain lion who killed him because like they already did the results on that. But they want to see if there's maybe some sort of like health issue, like a rabies-esque virus
that
or
made
something
it like not back down.
That made it, yeah, exactly, because it was the fact that like they literally did everything right. Like they made themselves bigger, they yelled, they screamed, they stomped, they beat sticks. The guy even like hurled his backpack at it, and like nothing deterred this lion. Like, and even the fact that they were like beating it and like trying to like fight back, and like nothing deterred it.
Oh, that's literally so scary. And I will never hike again.
If you think that one's a doozy, wait until you hear about this one. And I found it thanks to TikTok. And I could not believe the ferocity. Like, it's truly unreal. So buckle up.
Okay, ready.
And I'm actually going to be reading it straight from Reader's Digest Canada. Thanks, Canada.
Wow, we love Canada. Shout out.
And the story is called Rogue Bear on the Rampage by Lynn Hancock, a tragic true story of heroism in the face of horror. And this was originally published in 1999.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we're going back in time. It was August 14th, 1997. Patty McConnell had been driving from Paris, Texas for over a week, heading for Alaska to start a new life. The vivacious 37-year-old mother hoped to get a job there and raise her 2 kids, Kelly, 13, and Kristen, 7. It had been a tiring trip, and the children were delighted when McConnell turned off the Alaska Highway and into the Layered River Hot Springs Provincial Park. A tropic-like oasis in the forest and the hot springs were a popular tourist haven, complete with campsites and playground. The family wasted no time slipping into their swimsuits, and in bare feet they hurried along the boardwalk and into the crystal clear 53 degrees Celsius water of the lower pool. After a long, hot soak, they headed for the more secluded upper pool, some 340 meters farther into the bush. Also, something to mention, I probably should have. So, how this park is set up, this is important, is basically like it's a bunch of these long boardwalk bridge like things, kind of through these like marshlands. And then there's like these like basically like little like hot spring pools.
Okay.
So like each of these like little paths kind of leads to a different section
Okay.
and pool kind of
Okay.
thing is how
Okay.
it's set up. So Kristen soon got bored and raced back along the boardwalk to the lower pool where she made some friends. "Slow down or you're going to slip," McConnell yelled as her daughter tore off around a bend. She and Kelly got up to follow. As they reached the turnoff leading to the Hanging Gardens, Kelly said, "Let's go see them, Mom." Climbing a flight of steps through the bush, they came to see a viewing platform. So intent were mother and son on identifying the exotic plants, they paid no attention to a rustling in the bushes beside the boardwalk.
Boy.
McConnell glanced at her watch. "Kelly, I'm worried about Kristen. I'm going to find her." McConnell started down the wet steps. As she reached for the railing to steady herself, something drew her attention. She looked into the eyes of a black bear, a big adult male sitting in the shrubbery, chewing on a dogwood branch. McConnell froze. "Kelly, bear," she hissed. "Sure, Mom." With his back to her, Kelly thought she was kidding. "Kelly!" This time he turned round to find an animal taller than him staring intently at his mother. Remembering what he'd heard about bears, he said, "Mom, don't make any sudden movements." Cautiously, Kelly edged towards his mother. The bear snorted, then lunged through the railing and onto the boardwalk. "Mom, run!" Galvanized by her son's screams, McConnell moved as fast as she could, the bear charging after her. She ran up the steps to the viewing platform and was trapped. Kelly saw in horror the bear engulf his mother's almost naked body with its own. Remember, she was in her swimsuit. Despite his slight stature, the 13-year-old ran at the creature and kicked at its face. "Get off my mom!" The bear looked up and grunted and went back to its prey. Searching for a weapon, Kelly snatched up a sawed-off tree limb. With strength born of anger, he smashed at the bear's head while screaming for help. The sight of his mother's blood on the bear's canines spurred Kelly on, lunging ferociously with a stick. He hit the animal squarely on the nose, drawing its blood. The bear growled and swung a paw at Kelly, ripping a deep claw mark into his neck and shoulders.
Oh my gosh.
Then he came after the terrified boy. Kelly crumpled under the animal's massive weight. He felt its teeth crunch around his waist as it lifted him into the air and swung him around like a dog playing with a rag doll. Just as he was about to pass out, the animal flung him to the deck. Kelly rolled into a ball. His mother laid beside him, her skin ashen, her eyes open and unblinking.
Oh.
He tried to crawl towards her, but the bear pounced again, tearing chunks out of his flesh.
Oh.
The animal's foul, rancid breath made Kelly want to vomit. He closed his eyes. He knew he was about to die. Having delivered the last of his explosives to seismic crews. That's such a mouthful.
That is a lot. Yep.
Thank you. Working on the Alaskan Highway, Ray Kitchen, a 56-year-old trucker from Fort Nelson, British Columbia, decided to stop off at Liard Park. There, his 11-year-old daughter Jolene and her friend Sarah, who were along for the ride, could enjoy a swim. As Kitchen relaxed beside the hot springs, watching the girls play, terrified screams suddenly erupted from the park's famous Hanging Gardens. The sound jolted Kitchen to his feet. He rushed along a rain-slicked boardwalk and up to some wooden stairs to reach the garden's viewing platform and stopped, horrified. On the wooden structure, a huge bear straddled a young boy beside the motionless form of a woman.
Ugh.
Both were covered in blood with deep gashes in their swimsuit-clad bodies. Ray Kitchen quickly took to the horrifying scene. Grabbing a falling tree branch, he hammered it against the railing. "Hey, get off!" he yelled. The bear paid no attention. Kitchen tore off a bigger branch and rammed it into the bear's stomach, hoping to push the animal away from the child. The bear rose from his victim and charged towards Kitchen. The impact knocked him right through the railing, and bear and man tumbled into the bush. Clad only in his swim trunks, Kitchen tried to protect his body from the bear's slashing claws by scrambling to his knees to a tree and covering his head with his hands. He began yelling for help. Frank Headingham, 71, was lounging on a deck overlooking the lower pool when he heard the screams. Just a bunch of kids, he thought. Then he heard shouts. Help! Bear! Get a gun! He immediately took off in their direction. Just ahead of him on the boardwalk were Ingrid Bailey, a wilderness firefighter and paramedic from Felton, California, and her friend Brad Westervelt. News that a rogue bear was about had spread quickly, and frantic people were fleeing towards the parking lot. But Bailey, who regularly parachuted into fires in remote areas, was used to bears. She, Westervelt, and Headingham pressed on, gathering sticks and chunks of wood as they ran. At the viewing platform, they saw 2 bloodstained bodies on the deck, but it was the terrifying scene below the deck that riveted them. Kitchen, still alive, was struggling weakly. The bear's jaws were clamped tight around his upper arm and shoulder, its claws slashing at his already torn and bloody body. Bailey began hurling chunks of wood at the bear. Get off him, she screamed, stamping her foot and pounding the railing with a stick. She felt no fear, just anger. Then helplessness as her efforts did nothing to distract the animal. Headingham and Westervelt, meanwhile, had spotted a long, thick tree trunk. It was heavy and cumbersome, but they levered it over the railing. Using it as a battering ram, all 3 heaved together, but that too failed to drive the animal off.
Wow.
We need a gun, Bailey thought desperately. Where's the park ranger? As if reading her thoughts, Westervelt dropped his end of the tree. I'm going to find a ranger, he yelled, and raced off. Headingham, with a history of heart attacks, was exhausted, but vainly continued to pound away at the bear. I know. Suddenly, the bear shifted its position, clamped its jaws around its victim's neck, and threw him into the air. No, Bailey screamed frantically. The bear hesitated and dropped Kitchen to the ground. His face gouged, his windpipe ripped out, his neck almost severed. Kitchen was dead. Bailey turned to the other victims. She knelt beside McConnell and felt for a pulse. She knew that the woman was dead, but her training dictated that she try to resuscitate her. She set to work. Just then, Kelly moaned, and Headingham rushed to his side. Suddenly, the bear's left paw curled over the edge of the deck, centimeters from Kelly's feet. So the bear's below them, underneath the deck, remember? And he's now reaching back up onto the deck where they all are.
And she's
Yeah, because she's like working on the mom.
Oh.
I know. So the bear's like trying to get back at like these people. But
There's something like scarier about the visual of the bear being under.
Right.
And like, oh my gosh.
I know. Furious, Headingham stood and delivered a vicious kick with his hiking boots. The animal staggered back, but instead of retreating, it moved down the slope towards the boardwalk, where people were still passing.
Oh, gosh.
Headingham turned back to the boy who was trying to crawl to his mother. Help my mom, he pleaded. Don't worry, Headingham whispered. We're doing all we can. You mustn't move. Breathe slowly. Headingham, who had first aid training, took a handkerchief from his jacket to mop the blood from the worst of the gashes. What we really need, Bailey said, are towels to act as compresses and 2 more pairs of hands for CPR. As if in answer, several men bounded up the stairs. One had a towel and knew CPR. He helped Headingham bind the boy's wounds. Another man assisted Bailey, compressing McConnell's chest while Bailey breathed into her mouth. The bear had gone. But where's the ranger? Bailey wondered. We must get them to a hospital, Headingham said desperately. I'm going for help. Suddenly, new screams ran out from the trees.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, Headingham thought. The bear's at it again. Ari van der Velden. There we go. 28, a research assistant from the University of Calgary, had been soaking in the upper pool when he became aware of a commotion coming from the bush. Along with other bathers, he left the pool and hurried down the boardwalk. He had almost reached the turnoff to the hanging gardens when someone yelled, "A bear's coming! Run for your lives!" Everyone turned and ran, but Van der Velden slipped and fell into the bush. In seconds, the bear was there and launched itself on top of him, slashing at his body. Van der Velden kicked at the animal's nose. He even tried pulling the bear's ears, but nothing could deter the beast. Vandervelden felt a searing pain as the bear's claws hooked into his flesh and the bear bit deep into his upper thigh. Dave Wedd, a 49-year-old businessman from Fairbanks, Alaska, had just arrived at the park when an exhausted man dripping with blood from his temple ran up. "You've got to do something. There's a bear up there," Hedingham panted, and explaining what happened. Webb nodded, raced back to his motorhome, and brought 2 rifles. They loaded up and set off at a run down the boardwalk. Egerbron arrived at the scene first. He heard low growls coming from the boardwalk. The bear now had Vandervelden propped against a log and was feeding on him. Egerbron aimed carefully for the back of the bear's neck and then fired. The bear slumped down. Egerbron knew it was dead, but he fired twice more to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Up on the viewing platform, Bailey, still tending to McConnell and her son, heard the shots. All of the pent-up tension and anger poured out of her. "Shoot it again," she cried. "Shoot it again." Because, of course.
Yeah.
The horror at Laird Springs was finally over. Patty McConnell died that afternoon, but thanks to the courage of Ray Kitchen, Ingrid Bailey, Frank Hedingham and others, Kelly McConnell, the boy, and Ari Vandervelden, the college student, survived. Flown out to a hospital, they both eventually recovered from their terrible wounds. In Fort Nelson on August 22nd, 1997, more than 500 mourners turned out to honor the bravery of Ray Kitchen. In a letter to Kitchen's wife, U.S. President Bill Clinton wrote, "Oh, okay. I'm going to try to get through this without crying."
I'm already crying. This
I
is
know.
not where I thought
Ray
that this was
Kitchen-
going to go.
I know, because like Ray Kitchen, like this guy, like he died trying to save.
Left his 10-year-old daughter.
Left his 11-year-old daughter to like.
Ugh.
I know. President Bill Clinton wrote, "The heroism and selflessness that your husband displayed coming to the aid of Patty and Kelly McConnell is an example of all that is noble and good in human nature." From Canada, Kitchen received the Star of Courage posthumously in September of 1998. Frank Hedingham, Kelly McConnell, Ingrid Bailey, and Brad Vestervelt were also awarded decorations for bravery. And that's the Rogue Bear Rampage of Laird Park. Yeah, so all said and done, that bear killed 2 people and horrifically mauled 2 more, which is absolutely already terrifying enough. But what's interesting, is that this was a black bear. And apparently black bears are very low on the list of bears to attack. So the fact that this one not only attacked someone, but like kept going after people is so crazy. It's like he was on a mission. Like he was a bear possessed.
Okay, I had an inkling that Kelly would survive because I was like, how would
There's so many
someone
details
know
to this,
the
yeah.
details about
I know, same.
the front end of the story?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's devastating.
Are brown bears supposed to be more
black bears. This is a black bear.
right? But are brown bears more
So
dangerous?
it's like grizzly bear,
Oh,
Kodiak
grizzly.
bear, and there's one other one that are like more known to be like aggressive. Whereas like black bears aren't, I guess, known to be
Right.
aggressive. I guess like they mostly like avoid humans. But this one, like what's crazy is that like it could not be deterred. Like the fact that like people were screaming, hitting,
Yeah.
battering ram, punching, like doing literally everything. Like they had to kill it. Like there was literally
No, there was
other-
no.
There was
And this
no other
one-
way.
Like it's like a true monster in the story.
Oh, 100%. And again, terrifying because this is this park hot springs thing that people are going to
Frequent all the
literally
time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's tons of people there. Hence why this bear took
Is
so
it
many
still a
people
thing?
out.
Like, do people still go there?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely not.
no, never.
Never.
But
Like, I'm already not a nature person, and these stories are confirming why I never need to go to the wilderness. So
stay out of the forest.
stay out of the forest. Stop hiking.
Stop doing it.
Just, like,
Don't
let
do it.
them
They don't
have
want
it.
us there.
Let the
them
animals have it.
Yes, thank
It's
you.
theirs.
Let the animals have it. It's theirs.
Like, give us
It's for them.
ours.
Let them
and
have it.
They can have it.
You know what? Land back for the animals.
Land back on Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you.
We're all about land back.
Well, Beeb, that's all I have for you today because I figured that would be enough.
That was way more intense and different. Like, I thought it was going to be like a haunted story.
See,
No,
I just go
like-
with things that are terrifying. Like
No,
this
like,
is Cat's Got Your Terror.
literally so terrifying.
Right.
Because this is like within the realm of possibility. Not that, like, again, I don't frequent the forest, but like, but these aren't even like places like this isn't a place that
This
would
was a
be-
hot springs.
This is a hot
Like,
springs. Like people do that all the time. It's like
Yeah.
a vacation.
Yeah. And again, like the shed hunting thing, like those guys, like they were kind of on these like back roads, like whatever. Like, I mean, yeah, like mountain lions are there. But again, like they did everything right and it did not deter this mountain lion. And then same thing with this bear. Like these people literally did everything right. Also, like God bless those people for going in.
No, literally.
Like
This was
could you
honestly a story
imagine?
of humanity.
Truly.
Like at the end of the
Really,
day,
truly.
it's like, okay, terrified of bears, yeah, but like
the fact that there are people who were like, no, I'm trained for this, I'm going in.
and that there will
Like-
always in every situation be the people who like run toward the fire. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like there's just like Kitchen who just heard it and was like, I went, you know. I mean, I wonder how in a real situation like that, how would I would probably run away.
Here's the thing. I love to say that in those moments I would be brave and that I would like come through.
Yeah.
But truly, I think I freeze. I think
Oh.
I'm a freezer.
Yeah.
It depends though. There are times where I
I
will
know.
come through.
Yeah.
There are times where in
yeah.
an emergency situation, like I really can kick in.
But if somebody said bear, I would be like, I am not equipped.
See, my toxic trait though is definitely thinking that I can communicate to the bear. Being like, no, I got this.
I feel that for you. Meanwhile, me, I'd be
I
like,
can paint with all the colors of the wind.
"Hi."
Hold on.
You listen on Indigenous Peoples Day.
On this Indigenous Peoples Day,
Yes.
I can paint with all the colors of the wind and I can communicate with the bear.
It also makes me think about like being a child and like my parents dropping me off at like sleepaway camp at Forest Home and stuff. Like up. And I vividly remember being, I don't know, it was like the summer going into third or fourth grade. And I remember we were on free time and we didn't have to be with our counselor. And I was with some of the girls. We were walking through and there were counselors with a brown bear. That the bear was walking through the camp and the counselors were like, keep telling all the kids, like, and the counselors were like very calm. And this was like the staff at Forest Home, not like our counselors that, you know, accompany us from church. And they just kept going like, hey, and they were like clapping and they just kept walking and we all were just like, I remember at the time being like, oh, there's a bear.
And you
like
totally
happy go lucky.
And again, that's the thing is it's like in that moment you're totally like, oh yeah, it's handled. But in reality,
Right.
if that bear
Right.
wanted to,
It could destroy a camp of third graders.
Like,
and my
literally.
parents just dropped me off and said, have fun. Here's $20.
like the fact that we trust nature so much. I mean, I even think that about dogs sometimes because that got brought to my attention one
I
day.
agree.
There's like a meme or something that's like the fact that we just like allow these canines that have like these teeth in our homes and we just like trust them implicitly to not one day just turn on us is crazy.
And you do hear those like random stories of like
Oh,
the
yeah,
dog
the
bit
dog
the
just, like-
person's face
yeah.
and then they have to put the dog down and
I know,
you're just
it's
like,
so sad.
God, that's so sad.
I know.
Because dogs are angels.
Exactly. So, not to take a hard left turn, but let's talk
do
about
it.
you real quick.
Uh-oh.
So, as
That's pretty
an
spooky.
incandescent, that's the spooky.
That's the spooky.
Dead.
Okay.
As an incandescent angel of theta,
Okay,
you're
sure.
performing all over San Diego, but
Yeah.
specifically this holiday season. What do you have going on?
I will be in, I'm doing How the Grinch Stole Christmas at the Old Globe in Balboa Park.
Yes.
There are no bears that we know of.
There are no bears, but there is the Grinch who apparently is
The
traumatizing
Grinch.
children.
Yeah, the Grinch is pretty scary. And we literally start rehearsals on Wednesday
That is
for the show.
because that's terrifying. Because Christmas is
Christmas
around the corner, y'all.
is around the corner. We start performances like the first week of November or something along those lines. So
Happy holidays.
the holidays are here.
The holidays are upon us.
Halloween, who is she?
What?
Yeah,
I know. I can't believe we're already midway there.
I know.
I need to soak up more spooky.
Soak it up, girlfriend.
Well, thanks for being here, Bee. And thank you, my little spoiled bats. And remember, if not friend, why friend shaped is a great way to end up coffin shaped. Until we meet again, happy terrors.